Hi, I'm Kim with Creative Cake Concepts, and today I'd like to talk to you about a new product I've been playing with, Crystal Candy's Edible Flakes. Okay, so let's put some flakes on some cupcakes. As you can see, I already have two done. The little bear has the blue, white, and pink confetti flakes. A little pink shoe is on a cupcake with the pink flakes. And then I've got the cupcake with a little blue tennis shoe. And the little blue tennis shoe and topper there just kind of looks a little flat. It's not as kind of jazzy and special. So all you have to do is remove the topper. I'm going to put this into a bowl. As you can see, there's some from when I did the bear cupcake. And open up your container, and I just tap to put a little bit of flakes on the top of the cupcake, and they'll stick to the icing. The reason I do it in a bowl is so that I can reclaim pieces that might just get wiped off the counter or put into the trash. Now you can reclaim those as long as they've not gotten wet or have icing in them, as the risk is that you put those back in your container and you're going to contaminate the rest of your edible flakes. On fondant, you're going to need to dampen the surface. Now, you can either use a thin coat of piping gel, or what I've mixed up here is a little gum glue. It's just water and Tylose powder. And you're going to have to lightly dampen the surface of your cake. You want to make sure that it is not sopping wet, that you have just a nice thin coat of moisture. Now, what I did here is when the fondant kind of set up for a little bit, it got a little bit of firmer texture, I took a heart cutter, kind of just pushed it, wiggled it into the surface a little bit, didn't cut through the fondant, but made a little indentation so that it didn't move. Open up your gum glue or your piping gel, hold your cutter in place, and then simply moisten the area within your cutter. Then you just simply come and tap in your edible flakes and then remove the cutter. Now, you may find that you've got a little bit of your edible flakes outside of the outline. You can either just brush away those pieces that didn't adhere, or just push them back into the designs that you have a nice, crisp outline. And the same thing with the little heart. So it's pretty simple to do the top of a cake. In order to do the side of a cake, you're going to need to carefully tilt the side of your cake, moisten the area. So say here I just want a little band of edible flakes. I moisten the edge, that down, and then just tap on the flakes. Now, doing the side is a little bit more challenge because they just kind of want to fall everywhere. Again, work over a cake pan or a baking tray so that you can reclaim those pieces that don't stick. Just lightly tap them in place and then turn your cake. When you're done, you can tap the cake board and see if you have enough. If you want to fill in little holes, you go back, you just touch those spots. And again, what you could do is just take a little pinch and push them on. And there's that little spot that I missed there. And you would just do this around your cake. Now, if you don't want this extra on the cake board, then you would go in with a dry brush and just brush off the excess back into your cake pan. So there's really a lot of different effects that you can get, a little, different options. If I wanted to, I could also very carefully do a heart on the side of the cake. And that's going to be a little bit more challenging, but then you also want to make sure that your fondant has set up a little bit so that it'll hold the impression. Now, you don't necessarily have to hold the cookie cutter there the entire time. You can make the impression of your heart, then go back in and paint in your piping gel or your gum glue, and then just come back with little bits of the edible flakes and just push them into the side. Okay, so I've cleaned up just a little bit here, and I added some more of the edible flakes around as my little border. Now, if you want to cover your entire cake, one tip that I would share is that you would cover your entire cake in the same color as your edible flakes. So say you want one tier to have all of the gold edible flakes on it. What I would do is pick maybe a light tan fondant so that in those little spots that you're going to always have little areas that are going to peek through. It's not as visible. So say that I wanted this cake to be all red. Then what I would rather do, instead of doing the white, is cover the entire cake or that tier with red fondant, then brush it with either the piping gel or the gum glue, and then do the edible flake application. Doing it that way is going to not show up these little areas. Now, likewise, you could always, on this top, I could have cut out a red fondant heart, put that onto the cake, and then put the edible flakes on just the red heart.